All right, so I guess you can start and you can introduce us your name, what year you are, and what was your major.
Sure. So my name is Kimberley Musey. I graduated with my bachelor's from Villanova in 2015 and then my master's in 2017. And I majored in civil engineering for both.
Nice. I'm also civil engineering, so love my civils. So my first question is, what led you to choose engineering as a major?
All right, what made me pick engineering? So I actually went into Villanova as a criminal justice major.
Oh, wow.
So I thought I wanted to be a lawyer, but after my freshman year, I switched into engineering. And I think that was because I realized that reading wasn't really my thing as much. I wasn't a huge reader. And it was getting to be a challenge, I would say, all the reading that we had to do every single night. And I was talking to a family friend, and she actually came over and was asking how school was going. And she said, well, have you ever thought about engineering? I was like, no, not really. But then I thought about it and I was like, I actually really was good at math. I enjoyed like physics and I really liked construction
Mm,
site. Like whenever I would see any driving past, I always like look very intently.
yeah.
So I decided to go on Villanova's website and I picked the major that had a hard hat in the photo.
Oh,
and that was civil engineering, and I looked at the coursework and I was like, I think I could do this. And then that's when I switched over.
yeah, I can't wait to get my hard hat. But yeah,
Awesome.
how was that switch from criminal justice to engineering? Because they're two different things.
Yeah, it's a completely different college at Villanova as well. So I had to like notify both sides and have them, look at my transcript and check all the credits. But my grades actually went up
Oh,
switching into the College of Engineering. Yeah. And everyone told me, most people switch out of engineering after their freshman year. Are you sure you want to go into it? And I was like, yeah, I think this is more up my alley, and it definitely was.
oh, I love that. Okay, so my second question is, what is your current job?
Sure. So I work for Jacobs and I do structural engineering. And yeah, we mostly design, I'd say between 1 and 3 story structures
Mhm.
that are usually made out of steel and concrete. And yeah, mostly our clients tend to be pharmaceutical companies. So we do a lot of process facilities, and it's where they want to like manufacture, but also maybe have some office space, some cafeteria, group space. Clean rooms tend to be pretty important. But yeah, that's mostly what I do.
Yeah. So what's your day-to-day life? I know you're talking about you off on Fridays, but
Yeah.
how was it maybe different or as the same pre-COVID and with COVID?
So previously I was in the office Monday through Thursday. Our office actually has a 4 10-hour flexible schedule, which is fantastic. If you have extra work, then you can go in on Friday and keep working. But otherwise, you have that day off. And now I'm working from home from my desk. um, right before COVID, I actually had a field assignment, so there was a lot more travel.
Mm,
And now we've been able to take advantage of technology like Zoom and WebEx and Microsoft Teams to get a lot of the coordination together. So for the engineers, we're able to stay at home essentially. And the construction team is still out there, but
right.
do everything remotely.
Nice. So what is the most rewarding part of your job?
A really good question.
It sounds
um,
fun to me.
yeah, it is a lot of fun. It's probably a little more stressful than I thought it would be,
Mm,
in terms of deadlines and things like that. But I think one thing that has been rewarding is like being able to see how far you've come, see your growth over time. It's a little slow at the beginning, but um, eventually just to see how far you've come from where you started. Right when you get out of school, you really don't know I didn't know as much as I thought I would have. So that was a little intimidating, but um, just seeing the progress that I've made has been really rewarding. And then also you tend to work on projects for several years. And so when you finally get those drawings issued for construction, and I think that's a really good feeling when all of your hard work, you're like, wow, I really did that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then one last thing was I mentioned that we work on a lot of pharmaceutical type of buildings and facilities. So a lot of our clients are developing like vaccines and treatments for some pretty big illnesses and diseases. So it's rewarding to know that the type of building that you're constructing isn't just for general use. It's actually producing something that could save a lot of lives.
Yeah. That sounds fun. Well, minus the stressful part of the deadlines, you know.
Yeah.
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 What was your like longest project?
um Usually it really depends. I think the timelines are getting faster. Clients want things done faster, better, strong, like, the whole gambit. But longest has been like 3 years,
Oh,
I would say. And it depends on if you stick with it just through design or if you stick with it all the way through construction.
hmm.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay. Gives me a little feeling, you know. So next is what challenges have you faced in your career and how did you overcome those challenges?
I kind of touched on it a little bit, but I would say the biggest challenge for me was when I initially was getting started, just feeling like I didn't know enough to be
Yeah.
good at the job. Feeling like I went to school for all these years and I still don't know enough. Like it's still a challenge. But I would say that having a lot of mentors was very helpful. Being patient with yourself and knowing that it's normal not to know everything and that when you start working, they don't expect you to know everything.
Right.
And then a lot of self-learning, being willing to ask questions. You know, if they mention a word that you've never heard before, you can say, I'm not sure what that is. And if you still don't get it after they explain it, you can run back to your desk and just go on the internet and search everything about it till you feel more comfortable. So
Right.
yeah, that was a big challenge, but over time, I think it gets easier and you start to realize like, oh, I actually know a lot more than I thought I did. So,
Got you. So I know you touched on this like earlier, but like what and like who helped you advance in your career?
sure. Um, I think I am very lucky to be at a company that has a lot of people that have been working in my field longer than I've been alive. So they have a lot of experience. And sometimes in this field, there's competition.
Yeah.
But I'd say in my office, it's a lot more collaborative. It's very common to see engineers, walking up to each other's desks and saying, hey, I'm working on this project and I'm not really sure how to solve this. And, they're talking to each other. They've been working in the industry for like 15 years. So I think just the fact that they're willing to collaborate and work together, it definitely puts you more at ease. So, finding mentors that can take the time and explain things to you has definitely been helpful.
Got you. Um, did Now the main question is, did being a woman in engineering present any challenges?
Um, I honestly would say not that I'm aware of. So, I think kind of going into it, you assume you're going to be the only one in the room that looks like you,
Yeah.
which oftentimes is the case. Being a woman and a minority, like, kind of doubles up on that, you know. But the one thing I'm grateful for is that I haven't experienced anything like any outright, you know, discrimination or judgment or someone feeling like, you know, why is she here? Have they felt that way internally? Maybe,
Yeah.
but I haven't been able to see it, which is good. I think that more and more, especially when you have mentors and managers that like believe in you and present you in a as a competent person, then it demands the respect of everybody else,
Right.
which I've always appreciated. When other people respect you, then you just feel a lot better. Like, oh, maybe I do belong here. Like I'm supposed to be here. I know what I'm doing. Um, but yeah, it hasn't necessarily been an outright obstacle, and I hope there's a lot more work to do to make the numbers more balanced.
Right.
On my team, I think there's only 3. We just hired our 3rd female in
Wow.
our whole structural department. So I'd like that number to grow, but
Yeah, me too. Did you ever feel that way and as an undergrad too, or getting your master's, or has it been different?
no, you know, going to Villanova was, I always talk about this, it was great because half of my professors were women
Hmm.
and most of my classes were, I would say, I'm not sure what the actual numbers are, but we
Yeah.
had a good female presence, I would say. Um, so going out into the field and into the office was a little bit different because I had been surrounded by all these women, and then the numbers kind of went down. I will say structural is a little bit different than I would say environmental and civil. Water resources tend to have more women than structures does,
Yeah.
but we can
I,
do
yeah. I feel like my class definitely a good representation of women.
it.
But I do find myself, it's only 2 people of color in my civil engineering class right now. But as in, like the engineering department, I do see a change that's been happening like gradually, you know?
I think so too.
Yeah. And talking, you mentioned I'm learning this stuff in class, the structures, the geotechnical and the water resources. How did you choose which one to do?
That was tough. That was really tough. I think inherently, because there's so many options out there, there's so many ways you could go with a civil engineering degree.
Right.
And I think inherently you probably lean towards 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Beginning, I thought I wanted to go one way, and then as I started taking coursework, it's like, actually, I kind of like this a little bit better. But at the end, I was still split between transportation and structures, and I really wasn't sure. So I actually, for my master's, did a multidisciplinary master's. So I did half of my coursework in transportation and half in structural.
Got
And then, yeah, and then afterwards, when I was applying for internships, I tried to get experience in both to see which one I wanted to gravitate towards.
right.
And then at the end, eventually, you just gotta pick.
Got it.
You just have to say, you know, even though I may like these both, you know, which one could I see myself doing for a long time or for at least for now?
Yeah.
You know, it's the great thing about Villanova is that it prepares you to be ready for many different types of careers. So
Gotcha.
you can always switch.
Now, how many internships did you have as undergrad, and I don't know, did you do I don't know, like did you ever touch on like the other ones, like water resources, and then said, oh no, that's not for me?
Yeah, so I had, while I was still an undergrad, I had 2 internships. Yes. So I worked, sorry, I have to think about that. So I did a water resources, more site development internship my junior year, during the school year, which was actually great because I would go to class in the morning and then drive around the corner to Bryn Mawr and go to my internship afterwards. Um, and that one wasn't, it didn't feel like the right fit for me.
Right.
Um, so then I said, okay, let's try transportation and structural, which were the two that I was leaning more towards. And so my after my senior year, I had another internship where I did both civil and structural.
Yeah.
Um, and then I didn't get as many structural opportunities as I wanted to. But I still kind of liked the structural side of that. And then when I was in grad school, the first year I interned part-time at a transportation firm,
Mm,
which I absolutely loved. It was a great experience.
yeah.
Um, and then after that, the second half of my grad school, I decided to go to Jacobs and intern as a strictly structural um, employee. And yeah, I loved that as well. And it was a very tough decision between the two, but I ended up going with the structural engineering job after
Right.
that. So
Yeah. Because right now I'm leaning towards structures, but I'm just a freshman. I don't know what's out there.
yeah,
So I'm trying to like stop being like one-minded and trying to branch out just maybe just a little bit. But I know
yeah.
that I like construction a lot. I like putting things together and stuff. I like breaking stuff too.
Mhm.
But so yeah, you're the right person for me to like connect. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, and even within structural, honestly, there's branches between that. I mean, you could go the residential route and work with a lot of like more timber structures made out of wood. You could go slightly commercial that are smaller scale. You could do wood and masonry. You could go into what I do, which are larger scale, which are steel and concrete structures. You could mix all of it and decide I want to not do design. I want to do construction management
right.
uh, and be out in the field. So there's just so many opportunities and routes that you can go. And my every single year that I have my review with my mentors, they always ask, like, have you decided? Do you want to go more the management route, construction route, design route? And we just talk about, oh, if I want to have a certain experience, and I just let them know, and they allow that. And it's great because it helps me pick out of all of the
Right.
options out there.
Yeah. So my next question is, what kind of involvement did you do that led you to be like to find who you are, like clubs and organizations and stuff like that?
So I was a part of NSBE, National Society of Black Engineers, which was great. I wish I had more time to be involved with that, but I thought it was a great organization that Villanova had part of. And then I also did, oh, Novocaine, which was fantastic. Yeah, strongly recommend Novocaine. You go and you visit middle schools throughout the area and just get to do different activities with them.
Mhm.
And actually, when I was at Jacobs, I brought it up to the people at my office management, and we were able to go with Villanova to certain trips. So for like National Engineers Week, we went with Villanova and went to visit some schools and taught them a little bit about what we
That's how
do.
you do it. That's how you do it. I love
Really
that.
a lot of fun. Yeah. And then lastly, I would say one of my favorite parts was I was on a dance team. I don't know if you know a Blaze dance
Yes, I
team.
do. I took some of their classes in fall.
Yeah,
So yeah.
nice. So my sister's friend actually started the team
Oh,
back when I was in high school still. And my sister was one of the founding members first year that they started. And then I went to Villanova and joined the team as well after a year. And it was really great because engineering can be tough. And so just having that space to, not really think about it for a while, to just relax, have fun,
yeah.
I think it was really important and it helped a lot.
Cause yeah, I'm a big dancer. You probably know that already.
Sister of the dancer, all of it.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that rhythm of trying to define fun. The find the things I can do. Like I know I'm a good planner of my life, but with with COVID too, it's
Yeah.
like we haven't started anything yet in the spring, but they had these workshops where you can go and I couldn't like commit to fully. So I love the fact that they have like classes for people to take it on the weekend. So
No, that's awesome.
love that. Oh,
Highly encourage it. Highly.
I need it. But yeah, so so what advice would you give your younger self and some advice for women in STEM?
Sure. I have to think about that. Give me a second. Um, I would tell them and myself that we belong.
Mm,
We belong there. Um, even if, like I mentioned, no one else in the room looks like you. I do think that deep down inside, companies, managers, they want more of us in the room.
right.
We have a different perspective. We have a lot to offer. So that's what I think I would tell myself, and just to not work hard and to not give up. You
Mm,
know, the experience, the knowledge, all of that takes time. It will come, and yeah, just believe in yourself.
I love that. So yeah, and probably could be a different memory, but what is your most meaningful memory from your time at Villanova?
Oh, I just loved it. I really do. I think about it all the time. It was such a great period of my life. Um, the even like in your classes, being able to bond because our class sizes are relatively small. By senior year, you really get to know people. You really get to know the professors. It's just I don't know. The end of it becomes really special. Like your senior projects, your capstones. It all starts to come together a bit more. And yeah, I think the environment at Villanova. I mean, I think was it my senior year? It was the year after we had won the championship,
Oh,
the basketball. Well, not me. I don't play. But like our school was doing really well, and it's just a great place to be. It really is. The opportunities that you have, the network that you build. It was just such a great experience. Such a great experience.
oh. And could you talk about the networking aspect that Villanova gave you?
Yeah. So around our area, for sure, I would say that Villanova. I mean, everybody knows about Villanova. So our engineering program, we have a lot of alumni that end up working locally in the Philadelphia area. So it's very easy to find people, whether they're around your age or even, senior management. You walk into their office and you see a Nova Nation sign, and it's automatically like you have common ground. My team has a decent number of Villanova graduates, so I think people know the quality of education that we received. And so they trust you and they believe that you're, like I mentioned, competent. You've taken this coursework. And yeah, I think that in and of itself is huge. And then if you take advantage of the classmates that you had and the different places that they go to work, it just leaves a lot of opportunity. Even, I mean, the very first two internships I had, I got that because of networking with either a fellow student or because of alumni, or even like my professors going to them and asking, hey, do you know of any companies that are looking for interns this year? And yeah.
Got you. Yeah. Well, that was my last question, but do
Right.
you have any like last minute things that our audience that who I don't know who's gonna watch it, but they've
Yeah,
been a lot, but any last minute things you'd like to say?
sure. I would say one, I know you mentioned a piece of advice. One thing I would say is always to capitalize on your curiosity. I think, there's so many, like I mentioned, there's so many different routes that you can go with engineering. Um, there's so many um, things that even when you're working in the field that you just don't know quite yet.
Right.
Um, so always be open to different opportunities, always ask a lot of questions, get to know people in your office, in your school that may not even do what you do, but have some sort of knowledge to share. Yeah, always be friendly, get as many mentors as you can
Mm.
because it's only gonna serve you better. They have you in mind in the future um, when things come up.
Right.
And
Yep.
yeah, that's that is all I got.
Hey, well, that's a good piece of information because I learned a lot. Because especially as you being one of a civil engineer that I want to be one day. I,
Aw,
yeah. I love
of
that. Well, I'm just gonna say thank you for your time.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for yours.